What's up, gang? It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And tonight we're talking about toxic uncertainty. Toxic uncertainty. All right, well, first of all, uncertainty is just a part of life. I'm actually doing some recording for a course I'm going to be doing for a company called Master Networks. It's part of a virtual summit that they're doing, and I'm going to speak about moving from uncertainty to certainty, right? Like, couple things about that. One, when you feel certain about things, you're confident, you have conviction, you show up with power, right? When you are uncertain about things, you often show up meek, mild, unstable, unconfident. It's unattractive, right? And that is the challenge of uncertainty. But I mean, uncertainty is a part of life. You never are 100% certain about everything. So the toxic part of uncertainty happens when we don't feel certain about something. We have uncertainty, and then it starts to cloud our judgment. It starts to paralyze our action. I've had so many of these moments in my adult life where I love having big dreams, big goals, big visions. I also love throwing my hat over the wall. I have this way of just pushing myself into what's next, right? Into massive uncertainty. My poor wife. I have this way of pushing myself into massive uncertainty. And then once I'm in it, I can get paralyzed. I'm like, oh crap, what have I done? Why am I here? How do I get out of here? And for a while, it can be very paralyzing. It's interesting right now with this coronavirus thing, right? Like there's all sorts of things developing and people doing research now and whatever. Like we'll see how this full story pans out. But it's brought with it a lot of uncertainty. Now, it would be one thing for all of us to be uncertain and just not know like what the future holds, to not know what caused it, to not know all that, right? But it's another thing to be uncertain and have the toxicity of that uncertainty start to spill over into not just our communities, but I mean, look at your life. Can you see ways in which the uncertainty that this thing has brought with it has created some toxic residue with you? I can see it. I'm pretty level-headed about it right now. I'm not like super swayed one way or the other, but where I can start to see the toxicity creep in my uncertainty about the coronavirus, for example, is I start to look at the opposing viewpoints. And I'm very much a middle of the road kind of guy, so I can see both sides, right? I'm not a full-on wear your mask and stay the F home and do all that stuff. And I'm not a full on like, let's go storm the Capitol and protest our rights. Like I'm somewhere in the middle of all of this. And as I'm looking at everybody else's perspective, I'm starting to grumble under the surface about both sides. I'm like, you guys are idiots and you guys are idiots. And I'm noticing this grumbling that happens because of the uncertainty. And that's the toxic part. Now, this is a marketing show, so let's move past the coronavirus because that's not the topic of this show. But let's move into your business now. So when things are uncertain in business, let's focus on the big elephant in the room, which is finances, right? Financial uncertainty is one of the big ones. And financial uncertainty has massive toxicity to it. It paralyzes you big time, right? And more than paralyzing, it might create some grumbling for you. You might have some more disagreements or fights with your spouse. You might be having fights with yourself about should you get a job? What should you be doing? So you can see this is a problem, yes? And if we don't have a way to live in it, then we get consumed by it. If we don't have a way to live with it, we get consumed by it. So let's talk about how do we bring certainty to uncertainty. I mean, this is the punchline, right? This is ultimately, if you can figure out how to live in uncertainty with certainty, then you're positioning yourself for making better decisions because you won't be persuaded by the toxicity. You'll be clear-headed and able to see things clearly. You'll be able to lead others who are stuck in their own uncertainty. You'll show up with confidence and conviction. Even in the middle of your uncertainty, if you know how to find certainty in uncertainty, you can show up with conviction and lead others who haven't been able to find certainty in the uncertainty. And isn't this what we're doing here in our business? Isn't this what we're doing in transformation? Like, what people pay us for is safe passage from where they're stuck to where they want to go. In other words, they pay us for safe passage to get from where they're uncertain so that they can be certain. But for them to feel safe with you, you're going to have to learn how to bring your own certainty into all the uncertainty you're surrounded in your current business. Do you know how many people wait to grow their business, wait to expand their business, wait to start a marketing message, wait to do so many things in their business until they have more certainty, until they've figured things out? In other words, you think that the path to certainty is learning about more things. And that's actually not true. Your path to certainty is not in learning more knowledge and information. And in fact, sometimes the act of learning more knowledge and information is actually compounds your uncertainty, because in the middle of learning things, reading a book, going to a seminar, listening to a podcast, you flood your mind with all sorts of more things that you don't know about. And so you've actually made your uncertainty greater because you're like, wow, I see all these options, but I don't know how to do them. Well, maybe I should do a webinar, but I don't know how to do that. Maybe I should do Facebook ads. Nope, I don't know how to do that. Maybe I should just build funnels. No, I don't know how to do that. And now we've opened our mind to all kinds of options, but we're uncertain about how to do them, and now we're paralyzed again. So the answer, the path to certainty is not in more knowledge and information. So if it's not that, then what is it? Okay, here's the punchline. Ready? But if you want more on this, I'm going to, you can let me know in the comments. I'm going to circle back and I can let you know when my course, I'm going to do a 30-minute training on this for Master Network. So if you are interested in that, put that in the comments and I can circle back and send a link to when that comes out. Okay, here's the punchline. Ready? The punchline. So how do we find certainty in uncertainty? Okay. Your certainty comes from your truth. Your certainty comes from your truth. Said another way, listen, ultimately your truth is the life you've lived. What you have lived is your truth. That is your truth. No one can say that's not your truth. That is your truth. And your certainty comes from that life experience. So in the middle of uncertainty, here's a great example of this, okay? Actually, I'll give you one more and then I'll give you an example. So part of this is in the middle of uncertainty, I can say, this is what I know to be true about myself. This is what I know to be true about how I'm provided for. This is what I know to be true about my relationship with my spouse. This is what I know to be true about who I am as a human being. All of those things. The second piece that you can add to that for additional conviction and certainty is to have a plan. Now, a lot of you have goals, but you don't actually have a plan for how to get to that goal. And so you set big goals for yourself and you're like, I'm gonna do that. And I say, how are you gonna get there? And you're like, I'm just gonna make a ton of calls, or I'm gonna do a ton of emails, or I'm gonna, or more realistically, you actually don't have an answer for me. You're like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a bunch of networking events. It's like you don't actually have a plan. And you can't explain to me how step by step you're going to get there. So when you don't have a plan and you're not living in your truth, right? Because you're looking outside yourself for knowledge and information to provide certainty rather than looking within yourself for what life has taught you and how you've been equipped by life to live in this moment. If you don't have those two things, your truth and your plan, you're screwed. And you will not find certainty in uncertainty. Certainty is a given. Uncertainty is a given. You will always live life with uncertainty because it's our nature to grow and expand. And every time you expand to the next thing, you are met with more uncertainty because you've expanded your life into something that is new. And whenever you expand into something new, you get uncertainty because it's new. But in that newness, you get to bring what you know about yourself and what life has taught you to deal with this new moment. And if you have a plan for the new moment, then you can pair those two things together, your truth and your plan, to bring confidence and conviction in this moment. And that's powerful. And that's powerful. So here, if I had to give you homework from today's episode, the first thing I would say to access your truth in moments where you're uncertain is to go back and remember what life has taught you. That's the assignment. Remember who you are. Remember what you've lived, and in what you've lived, remember what it taught you. Because life is always preparing you for what's next. Life is always equipping you for what's next. But if you're not present to that, then you can think you don't, then the thought becomes, I don't know how to handle this new uncertain situation. And so you look outside yourself for how others think you should handle it. You look to the CDC, you look to the WHO, you look to Donald Trump, you look to China. Listen, I don't know where you're looking for your answers. But you can see that if you look outside yourself, especially in this day and age, if you look outside yourself, you have a million opposing opinions. And you don't know, you could fact check the heck out of it. And everybody would have something supporting and fact-checking the opponent and something supporting their opinion. So the only place you can stand with power and certainty in this day and age is coming from what life has equipped you with. And when you start there, when you remember what life has taught you, you access your truth. And from that place, you can stand in uncertainty with confidence and power. Now, the second homework assignment I would give you along the lines of your plan is when I say plan, I mean the process. What are the steps to go? If this is my goal, what are the steps to go from here to here to here to here? Or if you want to, what I often do is I actually reverse engineer it, right? I actually start with the goal and I go, to get this goal, what would I have to do next? And then if I had to go back before that, what would I do then? And I reverse engineer it. For those of you that actually want to come to the Master Networks program I'm going to do, the 30-minute training I'm going to do, I have an invitation. I have a gift for you, an invitation and a gift for you that will actually show you how I do that with money, with finances. I call it income mapping, and I'm actually going to offer that to people who show up for that training. Okay, it's called income mapping. And it's actually how I start with what is my financial goal and work that backwards to what do I need to do now. And it gives me the whole process. So the second homework assignment then here is to create the process that gets you from here to the goal. The steps, what are the numbers and what are the steps to go from here to there? And if you can get that, then here's why this is powerful for certainty, because then you can take all of your energy in this uncertain moment. You can focus in on your truth and what is certain, and you can hone all that energy in on the process. So I don't need to worry about what China said. I don't need to worry about what Donald Trump said. And in the world of business, I don't need to worry about what the funnel guy said or what the podcast guy said or what the other Facebook ads guy said. I have my plan, and I'm going to hone my energy right here, and I'm going to take the next step. And I have certainty in that. Now, I may not know what the result is, but I have certainty in who I am and what my next step is. And so I take the next step. And then I have certainty in what that next step is. And so while the world is caving all around me, I'm just over here taking the next step with power and certainty. Do you see how this works? So if you, gang, are in a place of feeling uncertain, and that uncertainty has started to create some toxic residue, some toxic symptoms for you, such as you're paralyzed, you're not taking action, you don't know what's happening, you think the sky is falling, you've lost your power, you don't feel certain, you don't feel confident. You second guess your decisions, you second guess your goals, you don't even know what you want in life. All of that is from uncertainty. if you would like to have a way out, if you would like to be reconnected to your truth, and then take that truth and be able to share it with the world. There's something powerful that when you find your truth and you mirror it back, you share it back with the world, there is something powerful inside you because it is that light shining out. There's no way to shine that light without you being in touch with the power of it. And that reaffirms your certainty. And it casts a light into the shadows that others are experiencing in their uncertainty. So it's a great place to market from, to share a message from. Okay, I have a 6-week program designed for that very thing. It's called the Groundswell Method Intensive, and it's 6 weeks with me, 2 hours a week with me for training, and then 2 one-on-one calls with me over those 6 weeks to help you find the message that is brewing inside your soul to say to the world from a place of conviction and power, so that not only others are led by you, but you start leading you. For many of you, you're so close, but because you don't have a message, you're not connected to the truth of you. That is the place you market from. You market from your truth. But if you don't know what that truth is, then you keep looking for, you keep doing exercises like, well, maybe I'll do an avatar exercise and find my perfect customer. Or you go, maybe I'll do I'll buy one of those social media calendars that has it pre-planned for 2 years and maybe that'll help. And then you do all that stuff and nothing fills the hole. Nothing is satisfying what you're looking for. And it's because it's your truth that gives you that power. And that's what this 6-week program does, is it puts you in touch with your truth and your message for the world, that when you see it, when you finally see it, you're like, oh, dude, this is like the, what was that thing in Back to the Future? The reactor, right? This is like that thing that powers your life and your certainty. And from that place, you can start to build some really big and powerful goals and plans and processes to focus on that provide all kinds of certainty as the world around you is caving. So again, if you'd like to learn more about that, go to groundswellmethod.com. Groundswellmethod.com. Watch the free videos there. And on the last page is an application button to that 6-week program. Fill out the application. It comes to me. Thanks for hanging out with me in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow, here's to you finding your certainty.